Marketing is a fundamental process of every business, and in today's world, it is moving very fast. There is a new tool, new tactic, new report in marketing every single day. And this course is about the idea of marketing in 2020, starting from the current marketing landscape, building digital strategies, and working with various tools for your business. This course also includes evaluation of your websites, touching on the foundation of SEO as well as mobile marketing. We'll also understand and learn about working with Google AdWords, and we'll come out with a clear picture of things such as social media marketing, content marketing, mobile marketing. And you will also learn about how to run Facebook ads and essentially uh, Google Analytics and more. This course is aimed at creating an industry appreciative knowledge and clarity about digital marketing overall to help you navigate yourself and your business into receiving greater results. My name is Aravind K Thoomu and welcome to Digital Marketing Explained. Let's start with online marketing. Online marketing, in simple terms, is promoting your business online using a variety of channels. And these channels include search, social, video, email, and display. And now today's customer lives across these channels. Over the years, the internet has substantially changed the people's buying process. With the evolution of smartphones, people are searching for products and services, comparing prices and asking their peers for recommendation simultaneously and all digitally. And this whole new normal made the traditional marketing take the back seat to its digital counterpart. And online marketing is all about finding ways to be present and stay present at the right moment to capture the customer. Throughout this shift, print media readership has gone down. Cable network is not as demanded as it used to be. People are opting for on-demand online shows from companies like Netflix. Streaming music replaced audios and radios. Google Local and Yelp took over the yellow pages. All this led us to come up with highly productive tools and tactics that stand out and outperform the traditional marketing tools and techniques. And I highly recommend you to take screenshot whenever you want to and note down the information from slides which you think might help you tomorrow in further. Here on this slide, there's a clear picture depicting some of the traditional marketing tools and their digital counterparts. Again, I highly recommend you to take a screenshot of this picture because this will reinforce your knowledge of what used to be a traditional marketing phenomena and also it's much effective and the latest digital counterpart. We'll be gaining an in-depth knowledge about all the tools that are mentioned in the figure 2 and even more as we progress through this video tutorial marathon. And as we already mentioned, by the end of this tutorial marathon, I'm sure you will be equipped with just some significant awareness to stand out in your journey to becoming a modern digital marketer. Even in the stores, people are holding their phones and scanning barcodes, comparing prices, and making their buying choices. And this is exactly where the online marketing comes in handy. As a business, you need to stand out throughout the journey a buyer takes. And with so many of the user interaction points included, online marketing can often feel overwhelming. Now, let's just talk about the types of media we use in online marketing. Number 1, paid. Number 2, owned. Number 3, earned. Your paid media makes up for everything that you pay for, including tools such as Google Ads, Facebook paid ads, and display marketing. Your owned media will include channels like your website, your list of customers that you use to send out emails, and a blog with an active readership. And earned media is the world of organic press, like your social media accounts and other blogs or articles written about you make up for your earned media. And before you go any further, I want you to remember one thing. Being digital only for the sake of using these three channels leads you to a failure and displays the deficiency in building a better strategy. Of course, there are vast amount of opportunities on these channels, but to be able to perform better on these channels, every business needs to build their digital strategy. As you can see in the figure 3, all these three medias overlap with each other, just like your customer will overlap as they interact with each channel. And what do I mean by that? I mean, these three medias are for sure three different entities, but there will be some elements that are sometimes shared between two or three medias. For instance, your Facebook paid ad could be the element that resides on your website, or someone else's mention of your business or your product or a service can make up some part of your display advertisement. Together, these three channels make up the foundation of your online marketing. So, at the end of the day, online marketing is a process of putting your business front and center along the journey that a buyer takes. And please feel free to take a screenshot of the figure 3 for future reference. In 2020, most of us do have web presence and understand the importance of it. And online marketing typically is self-serving. And for the same reason, many companies are rushing to build their online presence and are failing to create a substantial, sustainable digital strategy. The key here is to build a dedicated strategy that results in strong return on investment. Now, without investing your time and energy, not only the business will lose opportunities digitally, but will be left behind in 2020. That basically means a wrong digital strategy may lead your business to fail altogether. Online marketing is so broad, and our goal is to build a clear and well thought out strategy that will keep us focused. And to do that, you will need to understand your business at a higher level and ask yourself these questions. How do you intend to be perceived by the market? What that market actually is? How your customers are using digital technology? And what channels you want to build into? And every business needs to make their own strategy. And as you can see, there is no right for all strategy here. A restaurant business strategy could look way different from a t-shirt selling business. But overall, as an online marketers, our focus has to be about creating a shared value. And about shared value, we'll be discussing in the next slide. But the key is our focus has to be about creating a shared value. Shared value happens when your business goals overlap with your customer goals. And your entire strategy must be built with shared value in mind. That means, as an online marketer, you should not be focusing on the product or service that you want to sell to the customer. Rather, you should be focusing on selling and creating a shared value experience to the customer. Let's see figure 4, and let's take an example of a restaurant or a hotel business. Here, the hotel's goals has to be at some point overlapping with their customer goals. That could be about creating a great dining experience to the visitors and providing best room service at all times and keeping the hotel clean and accommodating a pleasant ambience. Similarly, online marketing should be done with shared value experience in mind. Now, as an online marketer, we should have 3 different strategies to be effective and efficient in our work. And those 3 strategies include number 1, business strategy, number 2, customer strategy, number 3, marketing strategy. Let's start with focusing on business strategy. A typical business strategy must contain a mission statement, that one sentence that defines what the business is trying to do. And there must be three or more organizational objectives the business is trying to achieve. And value proposition, the one thing that defines the things that create a shared value. And an elevator pitch, the one thing that defines a short summary of your brand. We will discuss about each of them in detail in the next slide. But before going any further, I want to add the importance of having a business strategy. By building a well thought out business strategy, the overall marketing strategy plan gets more easier and straightforward. And in order to do that successfully, you must ask yourself these questions first. Is your business digital? Do you have the right structure? Will your online efforts fit into your process? Do you have the time to maintain the strategy? And this process will help you achieve your goals. And perhaps the biggest challenge for any business in online marketing is to keep things updated over a substantial period of time. We will be looking at the process of defining a business strategy with an example from a brand called H+ Sports, and that will be in the next slide. And their mission statement is encouraging active lifestyles by offering ethically sourced nutritional products. Here, mission statement can be vague, but it should be able to stand out on its own. We should define at least 3 organizational objectives, and for H+ Sports, they are selling nutritional products, being socially responsible, and to receive validation from the athletic community. And then we need to identify 1 or 2 value propositions for each objectives. And these are the type of things that make you stand out and make you unique. And these are also the things that make you a better choice over a competitor. And finally, add your elevator pitch. Your pitch helps you think concisely. Now, online marketing has many channels that limit the amount of information you can communicate. So this is a great opportunity to practice thinking in a concise manner. And here for H+ Sports, we have a 2-sentence pitch that sums up the brand nicely. So pick and choose the elements that are specific to your business. And going through this process will help you understand who you are as a business and where you want your online marketing efforts to take you and your business. And I really recommend you to create your own business strategy for your own business. And at this point, we got a very good understanding of our own business. But now, we need to understand who our customer is and where we will find them. With our customer strategy, we are trying to do 3 things. The first thing is to reach the correct audience. Reaching out to the wrong audience will have adverse effect on the business, revenue and quality wise. Whereas the right audience will have the best return on our investment. The second is to understand that audience, really know what it is that motivates them as it relates to our objectives. And finally, we want to understand where we will find that audience, or more specifically, what marketing channel we can leverage to connect with them. When we talk about our online marketing audience, we're not referring to some special class of consumer. The truth is, the customers that shop physically at the store are often the same people who will order from us online. And the major difference, however, is that the digital customer is in control. They're able to drill into a landscape that is more niche and personalized than ever. This means that when you go to identify this audience, you're both blessed and cursed at the same time. You have to be specific with who you are targeting. Each view costs you money and time. Now, just as we did with our business strategy, we can build a simple table to outline our target audience. I recommend you to take a screenshot and go through the example of how good food restaurant work their way through the customer strategy workstream. From here, we need to drill in and understand our goals for each audience. I'll be referring to this as our customer segment or an audience goal worksheet. We'll end up creating a new table to explore these segments in detail. Now, for each segment, we need to understand four things. First, what is our business goal for this segment? These goals are likely a more granular version of our overall business objective. Second, what is the shared value for this segment? And if you recall, shared value is when the goals of your customer overlap with the goals of your business. Next, we'll look at the key performance indicators. These will be what you're measuring. It could be how many units you'll sell or how many people visit your website. Lastly, we want to create a target, and this target will be directly related to our key performance indicator. Here, I have an example for one of the customer segments of good food in Indian restaurant. So here, the customer segment was the tourists that love Indian food and they have an objective of tasting varieties of Indian food. So please do take a screenshot, and I highly recommend you to build a similar table for your own business to understand the process and also the challenges involved in this process. Now that we understand our business and our customer, it's time to identify how we are going to go about our online marketing. So, you may have noticed a pattern in our previous examples. Each strategy was built on the strategy that preceded, and each time we got even more specific. Our marketing strategy will actually be many individual plans, each tailored to one goal for an audience segment we specify. To help you understand, let's review another table. And earlier, we identified an audience of tourists that love Indian food. So we'll take the same example in our upcoming worksheet. And one of our business goals for tourists was to sell different varieties of Indian food. So our first marketing strategy will be focused on selling different varieties of Indian food as it relates to that particular customer segment. We'll be in detail in the next slide as we'll fill the details of whatever is suitable for good food Indian restaurant. With the help of having the business goals and audience goals, we develop our marketing strategy using the worksheet we saw. Here, we are going to look at all the channels we intend to market on and then develop a marketing idea for each of the medias available to us: paid, earned, and owned. Now, at this point, you might not have a sense of all the channels you can use, and that's okay. Take an educated guess for now and then refine this plan as you continue throughout this course. Here, in this table below, and for this audience, I anticipate marketing on travel and tourism websites as well as Google search and review sites. For paid media, except from review sites, we will run ads on Google search and on travel and tourism websites. Now, not every channel has to participate in each medium. In this example, we're not doing any paid ads, paid media on review sites such as TripAdvisor. And for good food restaurant, encouraging reviews and recommendations and providing new deals and discount information will be good enough to create the spark among the audience to visit the place. Creating, curating, and targeting with the food articles and participating in the industry related events and competitions are the things that they think will keep them relevant in the market. And that's what good food restaurant is intending to do with their own media. Online marketing is an iterative process, and you will work to continuously improve upon these ideas. As you build out new audience, new objectives, new channels, you will want to make sure you have coverage with your marketing strategy. It's important to be flexible. As you collect more and more data, you will be able to get closer and closer to your real targets. Spend time doing research to further understand your business and your customer and the marketing channels available to you. And here we look into the terminology and definitions specific to online marketing. And we'll start with one of the most important pieces of online marketing, your call to action. This is an instruction provided to your audience as a way to provoke a response. Calls to action typically use a verb such as save now or buy today. As you drive traffic to your site, you will encounter what is called the bounce rate. This is when a visitor arrives to your website but leaves after visiting only one page. As marketers, we'll often measure performance by how many clicks an ad receives. Every time an advertisement is shown, it counts as an impression. And the click-through rate is how many clicks were received in relation to the amount of impressions. Abandonment is when a user does not complete the goal you intended for them. A user is following a particular path, says to check out from an e-commerce store or to complete an online form for more information, and then they leave in that process. And each time your advertisement is displayed to a user, it counts as an impression. Frequency is the amount of time a single user will see your advertisement. If you had 10 impressions of an ad with a frequency of 2, then 5 people would have seen that advertisement. Conversion rate is the percentage of visitors who entered into this experience and actually completed the goal. To understand how a user converted or when, we need to use what is called a tracking pixel. These are teeny 1 by 1 pixel images that are installed on your website to track conversions, website visits, and ad views. Now, cost per acquisition, often hear it as CPA or in some cases cost per action. This is how much it costs you per goal completion. The CPA will then compare to your lifetime value or LIV. Every customer has a value. Some will buy once and never return. Others will become repeat buyers. So your lifetime value is a prediction of the net profit attributed to the lifetime of that customer's relationship with you. Banner advertisements and display ads refers to visual images, either static or animated, that are used to generate brand awareness or entice a user to click. Now, when you run these advertisements or share an offer, it's important that the user arrives on a page. This is specific to your promotion. If you don't use one, it's unlikely that they will convert. And this page that they first arrive on is called the landing page. Finally, let's look at an organic result. When you conduct a search on, say, Google, you have two types of results: paid results, which are typically the first couple of links, and then organic results, which are not paid and instead achieve their rank through search engine optimization. Let's explore the main components of digital marketing. Year over year, more and more marketing opportunities present themselves online, and this is because people are creating and adopting new technologies and exploring new ideas. The amount of options available to you as a marketer are almost overwhelming. Now, it's important to keep in mind that your strategy does not need to include every available marketing channel. You may end up using the ones that are good for your business. So, let's look at 4 areas of our online marketing strategy example. 1. SEO, 2. Search marketing, 3. Social media, and finally, video. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what channel we are using for these areas. So for SEO, we are going to focus on Google. And for search marketing, we'll use Google AdWords. And with social media, I'm going to start with Facebook, and then for video, we'll use YouTube. So let's drop these 4 into a table, and next we'll score the effort on a level of 1 to 6, 6 being the most amount of effort and 1 the least. And we'll also score the value. Now these scores are specific to your business. Here I'm going to just assign some numbers here as an example. So now that we have our scores, let's visualize how we can spend our time. To do that, we'll create a 6x6 grid, one axis for effort and one axis for value. Since we are using a scale of 1 to 6, we'll mark each row and column with a corresponding number. Now, if we break these into 4 separate sections, what we have is a visualization of effort versus value. The top left is low value and low effort, and the bottom right is high value and high effort. So since I scored Google a 5 for value and 4 for effort, I'll place that in the correct section. And I'll repeat this process for AdWords, YouTube and Facebook. With the complete matrix, it's easier to decide how we will spend our time. We're simply scoring these in relation to one another. Low value could still mean a significant return on investment. It's just not as significant as something in the high value section. I think it's helpful to first take a look at the history of digital advertising and then review the current landscape. The first widespread digital advertising started in the early 1990s. At the time, they were much like magazine ads, visual but not interactive. And in 1993, the first clickable ad was created by law firms in Silicon Valley. And from there, things took off. In 1994, web banner advertising was mainstream, and it stayed so until 1998. And then the first search advertising keywords became available through a company that was eventually acquired by Yahoo. Google followed suit by launching AdWords in 2000, and the rest of the digital marketing fell into place. From 2000 until now, we watched the landscape shift to include social media, video advertisements, interstitial advertising, and an entirely new marketing methodology surrounded by the idea of promoting content and not just ads. We have seen entirely new platforms catered to improving ads, tracking ads, and serving ads gain massive market share. In the current digital landscape, search is still the number one source used while making a buying decision. So your website's visibility in search is likely the most valuable real estate online. A mobile-friendly email list is still effective, and marketing automation, in simple terms, automatically retargeting the previous visitors, is becoming a tradition. Social media is still proving to be valuable for many brands. Building high value content for audience is proving to generate significant ROI for those who are doing it well. We talk a lot about funnels in marketing communication, so let's understand funnel before we go further in the lecture. A funnel is really just a way to represent the customer's journey as they move towards the purchase of your product or service. Our goal as marketers is to funnel prospects into buyers, moving them from the top to the bottom of the funnel. At the top is awareness. A prospect has to become aware of two things: their problem and your solution. And it's in this stage that your brand is exposed to the prospect alongside competitors. And below awareness, we have interest. At this stage, a consumer begins to explore the products or services available to them. Next comes desire, which we can also call consideration. It's here that a prospect wants to make a purchase. It may or may not be with your brand. And finally, action. So they're either going to buy or not. They may select your company or another company, or even based on their findings, they might decide not to make a purchase at all. So now, at the top of the funnel, we are focused on bringing in leads. And middle of the funnel, marketing job is to keep that nurturing process in motion, letting those leads move from the top to the bottom. And at the bottom of the funnel, that's where the purchase or the conversion happens. And funneling is generally the most complicated, at the same time evenly rewarding process in our digital marketing practice. So, we have come to understand the funnel is a way of evaluating the buyer's journey. And we have also got a good idea of each step within the funnel and how it relates to our consumer. And that's great and all, but now we need to start making use of this knowledge. like truly applying it. So you can influence how the consumer moves throughout the funnel and how we can activate this consumer within each stage. When you know the journey, you will know where to deploy solutions. The funnel has helped us understand the steps the consumers go through. But there is still a journey within those steps. A user can have many touch points within each stage, and unless we are really careful, we'll create scenarios where users may wander aimlessly. And there is an in depth explanation about buyer's journey in the description below, as you can see in the slide and even in the description below the video. And if you want to explore around that topic, your website is an important piece of your digital marketing strategy. It may serve as a gateway to gather information or the actual destination where a sale takes place. It's an opportunity for a visitor to discover what makes your brand unique and to find the information they're looking for, and also to guide them in their decision to buy. Chances are there that if a competitor with a better online experience exists, and your customers may seek them out if they're fumbling with yours. An effective website is simple and well thought out and also highly functional. As you evaluate your current website, take some time to ask yourself that are mentioned in this slide. And make sure your logo, tagline, and the color scheme all reflect your brand. Test it out on all the modern browsers. I recommend browserstack.com as a way to quickly test your site across different platforms. And take your time and conduct an honest evaluation. Your website appears on your print materials, and it's shared both online and offline as your brand recognition increases. A poorly chosen domain name will have a widespread negative impact on your online as well as offline efforts. Now, a good domain should be relevant, memorable, and usable. So let's talk about being relevant. Your domain name should be relevant to your business. Typically, it will be your business name, but in some situations, it can be a bit more broad. Next, make it memorable. You'll do that by keeping it short, using simple terms, and by selecting the most common top level domain. And the most common ones today are .com, .co.in, .net, and .org, and etc. And finally, the domain should be usable. If you're adding in hyphens or leveraging prefixes other than www, you might be hampering a visitor's ability to arrive at your website. You also need to be sure it will fit in nicely into any advertisement and that it's easy to read. For good food restaurant, I would suggest these three: goodfood.com and goodfood.co.in and goodfood.net. Owning or buying more than one common TLD will make sure you're safe from the competitors' foul play. The number one complaint we often hear from small businesses is their inability to find designers and developers to get the website up and running. And if you're not doing the work yourself, you might need a designer, a developer, or even both. The truth is, there's an endless amount of options out there, and it can be challenging to find the right fit. And here is a list of things in the slide that you need to consider while choosing a designer and developer. And believe me, it's very important to have a good development talent working on your project. So allocate plenty of time for your website. And when hiring a designer, it is very helpful to understand their process by reviewing their work and their portfolio. And check for the recency of their work. and ask what software they use. Read through their client reviews and ask them to review your project and ask them to give a quote. And share their portfolios with friends so you get a second opinion. And same with when hiring a developer. And also check for their code compliance and review their GitHub activity. And I suggest you to hire a local developer and a local designer so it will be helpful in the future change and updates. Building a website is perhaps one of the most important tasks in the process of digital marketing. And if you're doing it on your own, you must be willing to spend a lot of time to do it. There will be an immense knowledge gained, but only if you have nothing else better to do. And once you decide to build your website, it's more important to do it right, because a badly built website may negatively affect your business altogether. And building a website can take a lot of time, and it is definitely hard work because there will be a lot of moving pieces to work with. And a lot of coding will be involved to construct an effective running website. And even with the online templates available today, it's still not easy as it may seem. You can build a website without having the programming knowledge, as there are plenty of services and frameworks available today. WordPress, Wix, and Shopify.com are some of the websites that provide you the tools that are required to build an effective website in 2020. So feel free to check them out and choose the one which better suits you and your business. Every website has a goal. It could be to distribute information, capture an email address, or sell a product. As an online marketer, our goal is to make our visitor to take some sort of action after they land on our website. Now, depending on the audience, we'll have 2 to 6 seconds to convince them to stay on the website while we drive them to a specific landing page. And with these landing pages, we reinforce their actions towards achieving our goal. And we do it with the help of attention grabbing visuals and headlines and the information frames. These landing pages come in few varieties, and the first of the few is a teaser page. The objective of the teaser page is to give your visitor just enough information to get them to click through to the next step of your process. It's useful for products that are nearing launch. And let's move on to viral landing page. And the goal of this page is to invite your customers to enlist their friends. You might have a reward that is earned through a number of shares, for example. Next, we have the squeeze page. And the goal of the squeeze page is to capture people's contact information. Typically, a visitor exchanges their contact information for something such as a webinar, an ebook, or an exclusive discount. And finally, we have the infomercial page. These are typically designed in the same style as an infomercial you'd watch on TV. The idea is, in one page, typically a long page, you will share all the information about the product. When it comes to building your landing page, select the right type and then focus on these 5 things. First, define the goal, like what needs to happen. And second, what information you need from the user to accomplish that goal. Is it an email or phone number or credit card? And third, outline what the user needs to do, like filling out a form, inviting a friend, and so on. Fourth, what information does the user need to be convinced? Like what is of the shared value? And finally, how will you track the results? It's important to make sure your landing page has your logo, an explanation of the offer, a very compelling headline, related testimonials, and links to reviews, along with a strong call to action. After you build your landing page, it's important to continuously improve them. As you can see in the example, if you can fix your conversions, you can increase your revenue without having to increase your traffic. Focus on keeping your landing pages concise and make sure you add confidence to your visitors by linking to your privacy policy and by having a valid SSL certificate and including your contact information on every page. In reality, people just don't read on the internet. They scan, they'll jump from a headline to an image and then scan a few bullet points. And this means when it comes to the copy on your website, less is more. And with less words to work with, it's important that you make each one count. Writing engaging web copy starts with knowing your audience. You're writing specifically for them and no one else. So you need to deliver your information in a way that meets their needs. The goal is to write a great copy and not just create content. It's different. Look at this example for understanding what content is and what copy is. As you can see, copywriting really adds to the experience. It connects your customer to your brand, your purpose, and it tugs on their emotions a little. So, as you approach your project, start by getting rid of any long introductions and word heavy descriptions. Stick to clear, concise, and punctual copy, and use clever headings to your advantage and break up your text with bullet points. Now, before we get started, look at each page of your website and answer these questions. Who will read this copy? And why are they reading this? And what should they feel when they read this page? And what I am trying to accomplish with this copy? And what benefit and feature do I need them to really understand? And look at the results to write a better copy. Building on topic and relevant content will not only help your users, but it will help you out as you work to rank in the search engines as well. So write with the approach of connecting your audience to your business, convincing them to take the next steps and affirming their conversion. Now at some point you might decide it's a good idea to hire a professional copywriter, and I can't stress the importance of a good copy enough. So this is a worthwhile investment if you aren't able to spend the time to refine your own copywriting skills. And when you look for a copywriter, read through their work. Copywriters often write in specific niches, and while they're happy to adjust their tone and style for your needs, it's often better to find someone who understands your audience. A copywriter should be invited into the project at the very beginning, and in this way, they can gather all the facts, understand the challenges ahead, and build you exactly what you need. And you can also utilize a copywriter to write slogans, advertisement ideas, entire website copy, and focused landing page copies. Over the past few years, we have seen impressive growth of tablets and smartphones, all coming with different screen sizes. It would be an incredible amount of effort to build a design for each screen size and then try to keep up with new devices on top of it. So that's where responsive web design comes in. This approach allows your site to be adaptive. The page responds automatically based on the screen size and even the orientation a user is viewing it in. It works because a responsive website is designed around building blocks, and these blocks can break and collapse under one another, stretch and shrink, and even adjust the font size and image size based on the available screen real estate. Advanced responsive design can even adjust elements on the page, adding in additional content or removing it based on the view. You'll have to decide if responsive design makes sense for your business or not. Personally, I would make this investment in this style of web development. It's a necessity if you want to compete in today's digital marketplace. It will greatly improve your customer experience as they interact with your website between various devices. Now, responsive design might sound relatively simple, but it's a fairly complex endeavor. Use responsive design as a tool, not a cure-all fix. You'll still need to take usability into consideration, and that might mean changing certain interactions on your website to accommodate responsive